Who's that? Commander Claw. Who's bad? Commander Claw. Welcome back to another episode of Commander Claw Breaking Brews is the episode, and I'm bringing you more Duskmourn spoilers. I'm really trying to crank out all of the commanders. But enough talk. Let's get straight to it. I have Arabella, Abandoned Doll, Boros on a 1/3 body, legendary artifact creature toy. And man, she is creepy. So let me read what she does. Whenever Arabella Abandoned Doll attacks, it deals X damage to each opponent, and you gain X life, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 2 or less. So pretty much, it looks like we need a wide board state of 2/2s, 1/1s, or 0/1s for her ability to be activated or to trigger, excuse me, for her ability to trigger. So not only do you deal X damage to each opponent, you also gain X life. So honestly, when you're building this deck, you got so many ways to go with it. You got attack triggers, you can have damage triggers, you have gain life triggers, and you can also play on the amount of creature tokens or creatures you have on the battlefield on your side. So I am recommending this to be a aggro deck. Generally, boros colors are aggro decks, but it's a little bit different. Let's get into the win cons. So the win con that I pretty much see here is going to be a Voltron style win con while you go wide simultaneously. Yeah, so to me that's a little tricky, but with the right equipment or enchantments, you can make your commander stronger and go wide at the same time, especially with Boros colors. So we are sticking with the Voltron theme here. We have the card Anduril Flame of the West, a 3 CMC artifact equipment, legendary of course. Equipped creature gets +3/+1, making Arabella a 4/4. And it says, whenever equipped creature attacks, create 2 tapped 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. If that creature is legendary, instead create 2 of those tokens that are tapped and attacking, equipped for 2. So most importantly, I want to talk about the attack triggers. So if you have this legendary artifact sword equipped and you attack with Arabella, make sure you put this on the stack first so you can create 2 tapped and attacking 1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. That's important. Then get your Arabella trigger where you deal damage and you gain life for the amount of creatures that you control with power 2 or less. So that would not include Arabella. If you only did it one time, you would have those 2/1/1 white spirit creature tokens with flying. So you would deal 2 damage, gain 2 life. And the next combat phase, which is maybe most likely your next turn, you put out another 2. And that's going to be 4 damage, 6, 8, as long as you keep her on the battlefield. If you never played Boros colors, I will tell you this. You will be a target. You might take out one player and you'll burn out. I guarantee you, the remaining opponents will not let you live. Nobody wants to lose a Magic Commander game that fast. So what I do like about it is the creatures do come in tapped and attacking. So that's more possibility of damage, right? And they also are evasive. They're 1/1 flyers. If your opponents don't have flying creatures, they can't block this. So you're just dealing more damage than expected. This is better than dropping 1/1s that don't have flying or that are not unblockable. You see, you're dealing more damage, more damage, more damage. You're making your tokens and creatures effective. Next up, we got Light of Promise. It is an enchantment aura for 3 mana, 2 colors and a white. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has, whenever you gain life, put that many +1/+1 counters on this creature. So, whenever you attack with Arabella, and depending on how many creatures you have, you get to put that many +1/+1 counters on Arabella. What is really good about this card is Arabella's attack trigger. So her attack trigger goes off first. Then this triggers. So her attack triggers, you deal damage, and you gain X life. Let's say X is 5. You dealt 5 damage, you gain 5 life. Then Light of Promise triggers, and you put +5/+5 counters on Arabella. And let's say she's a 1/3, she becomes a 6/8 on attack. Come on, man, let's do the math. This is a no-brainer. So what I do like about this card, it is budget friendly. You're not breaking the bank, or you're not. You know what? What it is about budget decks is a lot of the cards are less than $1. So you're not spending a lot of money on like 2 or 3 cards. You're getting a bundle of cards for the same price as about 5 cards at like $2 a piece. So this fits. This is one of those cards, budget friendly, that can work on a lot of decks. I just encourage y'all to add budget commons and uncommons to your commander decks instead of all the staples, because you'll actually have more fun with them. The staples, they work, right? They're efficient. But when you have kind of a little bit of disability on cards, and certain cards only work for certain scenarios that you can create, the scenario that you can create, it adds an element of fun. Enough harping, on to the next. So we want to continue going wide, because if we don't go wide, we can't deal more damage and we can't gain X life. That's what we want to do on every combat phase. So what's really good about Boros colors is the possibility of additional combat phases. The more creatures, the more combat phases. This commander can get out of control and destroy all of your opponents at the same time. Remember, you will be a target. Moving on. Now, if you are lucky enough to drop a planeswalker on the board without being attacked, you should win this game. I'm gonna talk about Elspeth Sun's Champion. It's a 6 mana CMC planeswalker. Starts off with 4 loyalty counters. Her +1 says create 3/1/1 white soldier creature tokens. Each turn, create 3 +1, uptick 1. Her -3, destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater. So remember, Arabella's trigger only works if your creatures are power 2 or less. If your opponents have creatures that are power 4 or greater, peace. They gotta go. They're dead. Now, also, it might affect your Arabella if she's strong enough, depending what you have going on. But that's okay. Anyway, -7. You get an emblem with creatures you control get +2/+2 and half flying. So Elspeth, for me, I would say generally is just a nice token generator, creating 1/1s in an army at a super efficient rate. But also, it's a board wipe on the battlefield on your turn. Then, if you want to go wide and buff up your creatures, if you have the emblem, you can deal more damage without, like, this is like an alternative. Once your commander's taken out of the game, you have a bunch of 2/2s or 1/1s on the battlefield, and you can get this ultimate off. Now they're what, 4/4 flyers? Yeah. Okay, next up we got Glimpse the Impossible for 3 mana. It is a sorcery, 2 colors and a red. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play those cards at this turn. At the beginning of the next end step, if any of those cards remain exiled, put them into your graveyard. Then create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token for each card put into your graveyard this way. Those tokens have sacrificed this creature. Add a colorless mana. Excuse me. So this card is doing a lot. It has a lot of flexibility, and you have control. So let's break this card down. So when you exile the top 3 cards of your library, you pretty much have impulse draw, right? You're going to be able to play the top 3 cards of your library that turn. That is amazing. Red does do this very well. You are limited to that turn, but for 3 mana, this card is able to create you tokens for the spells that you did not play. So, shoot, even if you put 3 lands into your graveyard, you can create 0/1 colors Eldrazi tokens that qualify for Arabella. However, the only drawback is you didn't get to attack, because this says at the beginning of the next end step for you to create those tokens. Okay. However, you got to see either 3 cards or put a combination of creature tokens and play cards. For 3 mana, that is super efficient. And if you never played Boros color before, your deck will burn out. Your deck will burn out and you will need to see cards as fast as possible. You need to put cards into your hand, or you need to be able to play cards at that moment, because you will run out of steam. And your goal for an aggro deck is to take out opponents as fast as possible. And Arabella, I already know she will be a problem. Benevolent Offering. So this is a good card. I'm trying to give y'all cards that you're not gonna find on EDH Rec yet. Cards that people are not really thinking about, multi-purpose cards. And this is another great selection. Benevolent Offering for 4 mana, 3 colors and a white. It's an instant. Okay, instant. Play at any time. Says choose an opponent. You and that player each create 3 1/1 white spirit creature tokens flying. I will give you this caveat. I'm a fan of, what's the word I'm looking for? Working with a opponent, creating a lopsided board state, giving an opportunity to others that can benefit me at the same time. So in the card design, white does this very well. One of my favorite cards is Secret Rendezvous, where you and opponent get to draw 3 cards each for 3 mana. That is a crazy rate. The drawback is somebody else draw 3 cards. But if that other person is down or you want to make an alliance, 3 cards is a lot. Anyways, back to Benevolent Offering. Sorry. Says at the very bottom, choose an opponent. You gain 2 life for each creature you control, and that player gains 2 life for each creature they control. So automatically you're giving somebody 6 life because you're giving them 3 creatures. And you're giving yourself 6 life. Now, if you already have a nice wide board state, let's say 10 creatures, 10 times 2, that's 20 life. If you have an opponent with 0 creatures, they gain 0 life. You get to pick and choose, make enemies how you want to. Use politics to your game, man. I'm telling you. That's what I think is underrated in Magic. When you find channels or people that you follow, I don't think a lot of them influence or, like try to boost up the idea of politics in a match. Politics is super good. Make deals. Make deals to win matches. This is no different. Okay, these are a couple must-have cards. I'm not gonna really talk about them too much because they're gonna show on EDH Rec and they're obvious to put in. Uh, yeah, let's start off with the Assemble the Legion for 5 mana, boros, and 3 colorless. It's an enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a muster counter on Assemble the Legion. Then create a 1/1 red and white soldier creature token with haste for each muster counter on Assemble the Legion. So it starts off with 1 after you play it, then 2, 3, 4, 5. If this stays on the board while even our Arabella is been removed, you got an army the next time you recast Arabella. So the next time you recast her after paying command attacks and you attack again by giving her haste or whatever, you could have an army to just downright swing 6 damage, gain 6 life. Like, this is a really good card. Moving on. Next up, we got Secure the Waste. It's an instant. So you would like to play this right before your turn starts, the turn before your turn starts, right? Catch opponents off guard, or to create a wall defensively. All right, so tap a white and X is an instant. Create X 1/1 white warrior creature tokens. If you got 5 mana, you can create 4 1/1s instantly, just like that. No questions asked. Okay, finally we have Rabble Rousing for 5 mana, 4 colors, and a white. It's an enchantment. I believe this is from the Streets of Capenna set. It has Hideaway, right? What does Hideaway do? It says when this enchantment enters the battlefield, look at the top 5 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom of your library in random order. So eventually, if you trigger the Hideaway 5 trigger, you get to play this card later on. But that's not what we talk about here. You have, whenever you attack with 1 or more creatures, create that many 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens. Then, if you control 10 or more creatures, you may play the exile card without paying its mana cost. So, if you attack with 3 creatures, you're putting 3 1/1 green and white citizen creature tokens that qualify for Arabella's triggered ability. That's a fast rate. And you can go wide very easily. You just need to have creatures. That's it. Even if you have one, you attack with one, you got another one. Next turn, you attack with those two, you get another two. That's a total of 4. You attack with 4, bam, you get another 4. What? Yeah, that can get out of hand if opponents do not have answers. Okay, I'm going to tell y'all, if you never played Boros or Aggro, you need protection spells. Why? Because that 1 or 2 turns is all you need to possibly win a match. I play with too many players at LGSs and they go no protection spells. And I'm a guy that likes to play with interaction and they're just done. They're cooked. Cooked. Yeah, they can somewhat rebuild the board state fast, but it's not fast enough because one little instant removal, their whole game plan is shut down and they can't operate. So your commander fits this bill. Arabella, Boros, add some protection spells, people. Okay, so we have Angelic Guardian for 6 minutes, an angel 5/5 flyer. She says, whenever one or more creatures you control attack, they gain indestructible until end of turn. So if you swing all out with Arabella and all those creatures, they have indestructible. Indestructible. Your opponent needs to remove Angelic Guardian so this doesn't happen. Oh, actually, they can remove your commander, really. So, anyways, if you're going wide and you want to deal more damage after the trigger, you need your creatures to be strong and invincible. Okay, Bastion Protector for 3 mana human soldier. Commander creature you control get +2/+2 and have indestructible. For 3 mana, this is a super low rate. Gives Arabella indestructibleness. That's super important because she's an artifact creature. Artifact creatures are victims to creature removal and artifact removal. So you need to really protect her because she can die too many ways. Okay, so next we have Aegis of the Legion, Boros, red white artifact equipment. It says equipment creature gets +1/+1 and has mentor. If you don't know what mentor is, mentor says whenever it attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target attack creature with lesser power. Then it says, whenever equipped creature mentors a creature, put a shield counter on that creature. If you don't know what a shield counter is a counter that says if a creature will be destroyed, remove a shield counter from it instead. Then this says equip 3. Why I like this card is another low rate artifact equipment, so you can be out early. Then it plays on curve, right? The reason why it's good is because you get to boost your commander and build defensive capabilities for your commander. So the shield counters prevents damage. So why this is good? Think of a scenario such as Star of Extinction. All creatures take 20 damage. Bam! Blows up everybody's board, but you have a shield counter on Arabella. Cool. She's still on the board. You just remove the shield counter. That easy. And more shield counters you have, the more you can take killing damage to Arabella. Just remove a shield counter. Next up, we have Aether Shield Artificer for 4 mana, a little bit more. It's a dwarf artificer. Says at the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature. Arabella's an artifact creature toy. You control gets +2/+2 and gains indestructible until end of turn. Why this is good is because Arabella starts as a 1/3. That's super weak. That's not intimidating. If you don't boost her up, she's not really going to be able to protect herself because really the downfall of her is you need to attack. So you will be open because she is tapped to attack. So a good way to attack with her and keep her on the board is making her a 3/4 with indestructible. Your opponents don't want to take 3 damage, not late game, but early game they could take 3. And that's just to say if she starts off at 1/3. Anyway, it's a nice protection spell, great for combat, indestructibility. So I got a bonus card for you. Let's say you have all these creatures on the battlefield and you have somebody at a low, painstakingly, I need to remove you from the game type of life, like 3 life, and you have 5 creatures. This is the card. Last ditch effort for 1 red mana, instant. Sacrifice X creatures. Last ditch effort deals X damage to target creature or player. Yeah, yeah. Take them out at the last second. Also, it's another good card in case somebody does a board wipe, and you might as well put the creatures to a spell and deal damage. So, let's say the scenario is somebody board wipes, destroy all creatures like the Star of Extinction. You can literally pay this 1 red mana, sacrifice all your creatures, and deal X damage to target creature or player. Easy as that. Thank you for watching the video. Up here, I say 1 or 2 videos. One video is going to be another Duskmourn commander, and another video is going to be the best video watching for you. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button or like it and share it. Either way, I want you part of the Claw crew.